like while going your Twitter account, I check कि you are a founder of the NoCode.tech, and you also investor under the brand name of Concrete Capital, right?
Yeah, yeah. So Concrete Capital is a kind of really micro private equity firm that I set up in 2018. So I didn't actually found NoCode.tech. I bought it from a chap called Sam Dickey. And so Concrete Capitals, we bought NoCode.tech and we run that. And I kind of spend most of my time running that. But we also own a company called Adam Network, and it's like a SaaS PR agency. So it's completely automated press outreach.
What is the motive behind like indulging in the no code tech, or is it completely investor point of view ki okay, you figure out ki okay, this is the industry that is growing and you should help people out there, and also investing in the like no code tech, because as an investor you also feel ki this is something, there's a future there it is. So is it something that, or is completely other apart from this?
So it's actually a total passion project. So I have been involved in no code since around 2013, 2014. I actually have a background as a programmer, so I've been programming since I was, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something like that. And it's always been a means to an end for me. I don't really enjoy programming. I care more about the product that you create and then how you market it or what you do with it. And so when I started to find tools like Bubble and Webflow, I kind of realized that actually this was a quicker way of getting things to market. It was less frustrating. And actually, with no code, the thing that really got me hooked is when I started using Webflow. I previously hadn't been very good at programming interfaces. I could always write great back end code, but my front end code was crap. And so Webflow suddenly made me a good designer because it was so visual, it was easy to use. And that's what got me hooked on no code. And so, my career over the last kind of 5, 6 years, I've ended up kind of consulting for big enterprises where I help them adopt no code kind of practices and tools. So actually, I've always been in the scene, and buying NoCode.tech was just a kind of natural progression when the opportunity arose.
So, like, on what tool you have built? As you mentioned, you help companies to set up a backend server and all. So, what the tool have you used for the backend no code tool basically? If it is
So I've used a few. So Webflow is a tool that I've brought in before. I've brought in a tool called Treeline. It's not really in use anymore, but it was back in kind of 2014, 2015 sort of time. And more recently, I've been working with tools like Retool, Microsoft's Power Automate, Betty Blocks. So it's a real mix of tools. And another one that I'm hoping to use soon is Internal, which is a platform for building internal tools.
okay. Like right now, you like complete like working single-handedly on the no code.tech, or like is there a team or someone, or like completely open
Uh,
source people will put and you just
yeah, no, there's two of us right now. So there's myself, kind of taking care of growth, product, etc., sales too, and then I've got a content lead who sort of takes care of our content, keeps the site up to date, and just generally keeps it looking pretty and full of information.
what is the business model? Is there any business model for that no code.tech, or is it completely free, or what exactly if it is?
Yeah, so we have two business models. So number one, we have a partnership program where no code tools who want to get exposed to our audience, we charge them a kind of monthly fee, and in return for that, we send them a lot of people like yourself who are looking for no code tools. We'll help you find a tool, and in turn we send you on to them. But we also create content for them, like tutorials and interviews and things, and essentially content that helps people like yourself understand what that tool can do, if it's useful for you, etc. But we are just about to launch No Code University. So it launches hopefully on February 12th. And it's going to be a paid a sort of school for no code. So it will teach you the fundamentals of no code, almost how to program without touching code. And then it will have a bunch of like how to videos teaching you how to build all sorts of different businesses, or teaching you how to, do specific functions that are really popular, like how to do a sign in with Facebook, or that kind of thing. So that will be launching very soon, and then that's when that will kind of be a new business model for us, and that we'll be charging a monthly membership for that.
The like currently traffic over the NoCode.tech, like
Yeah, so we do. I guess I'll keep it approximate. We do north of 25,000 visits per month, with our visitors generally browsing anywhere between 55 to 75,000 pages a month. And our average visitor, this is an interesting stat actually, our average visitor clicks out to 4.56 different tools per visit. So typically they'll come onto a page like our app builders page, and they'll look at 4 or 5 different tools and choose which one to use. So we get a lot of traffic. We're growing very very quickly at roughly 20% a month at the minute, and we're just continuing to reinvest in growth. So I'm hoping that speeds up even further.
oh, awesome. So what type of the tool mostly people use, like people check out? So is it like something people check out for the website builder most or something else? Is it
Yeah, it's absolutely mobile app builders. Everyone is crazy for them. Tools like Adalo, Glide, V1. Those are by far the most popular tools on our website, and the ones that we get the most questions about as well. So really, really popular segment.
so like have you have already tried a lot of no code tool. So if someone asks you to build some complex tool, uh, for example, Uber, or you can take any Amazon e-commerce. So is it completely possible to build it completely throughout no code, front end, back end, mobile website, or is it like something there is a uh, you can't there's a limitation out there? So
Yeah.
yes.
So the short answer is it really, really does depend. Typically what people say about no code is you can build 80% of what you want, and the last 20%, you might not be able to build, or you might need to use code. I actually do not think that is true. I think it's probably more like 90, 95% you can build without code, and the last 10 or 5% you can't. And what I mean by that is, you know, there's new no code tools coming out almost every single day. And so the number of things that you can do with no code today will be different tomorrow. And so different use cases are quickly disappearing. And actually, as the ecosystem matures, you've got more people creating templates, creating plugins that make businesses like Uber, which are quite complex. It makes them possible because someone's done a map plugin, someone's done a machine learning plugin, and so in general, most things can be built with no code. The thing that's really important is picking the correct tool. It's about picking the right tool, and also making sure you know the fundamentals. And if you know the fundamentals, you can use any tool. And as long as you have an idea of what tools can do what, um, then you can usually find something that fits your use case. And if I'm ever recommending a no-code tool to somebody, depending on how technically proficient they are, or how good they are with software, that will tailor the tool that I recommend. If someone is completely new to computers, I'd probably recommend something like Glide. But if they can handle more complexity, then they can handle a tool like Bubble or Adalo, and those tools can build almost anything.
Oh, good, good. When you look for the no-code product as an investor point of view, for example, I am founder and I'm building a static website generator.
Mm.
So this is my niche no-code tool. Uh, so you will look for the niche in particular no-code, what exactly they are trying to solve, or you will something pick a general set of key, okay, something website developer, something mobile app developer, or something backend APIs developer. or you particularly go in the particular niche? What?
Yeah. So so um So usually investment advice or typical kind of investment group think is you should always invest in the niche. And generally with software that's true. You know, the more niche it is, the less competition there is, the more users are generally willing to pay. However, with no code, I think it's a little bit different because no code is software that builds more software. And you know, that's a little bit like a programming language. You know, if you could invest in JavaScript, would you rather invest in that, or would you rather invest in something really obscure like Haskell? And I doubt many of your, you know, many people would know that language. But usually with something that creates other software, you want something that can build almost anything that isn't going to hit limitations. And as a result, something that lots of people are going to help build an ecosystem for. If you look at a tool like Bubble, you know, Bubble has their all-in-one app builder, their generic app builder, but they also have you know, they have an app store kind of thing where you can get plugins, they have a template store, they've got agencies, and so you genuinely can build almost anything. And actually, you know, people will say, for example, well, what about a no-code tool for accountants? And I would say, well, can't I go on Bubble and you know, get a template for that? Or you know, for me, the best no-code tool is the one that enables the biggest possible ecosystem. You know, templates, plugins, experts, community, and so that's kind of where I would always focus my energy and my money.
Oh, perfect. What is the marketing strategy one should follow to launch a no code tool out there, or what strategy you have follow for the NoCode.tech in the initial days or now? Is it like
So I think it changes a little depending on the size of the company, but I think the important channel today is social media. You know, the like for no code tools, social media is just blown up right now, and it's very easy to get early adoption by going on social media and just making sure that you've got a product that stands out. I think beyond that, you know, a lot of no code tools are focused on social media at the minute. And so I think any other channel is going to do well. You know, with NoCode.tech, we focus on SEO, and we're branching that out now to some other channels that other people aren't thinking about. And there's a lot of things like TikTok, Quora, that are new channels as well that nobody's really using. I know some no-code mobile app builders recently are getting a lot of success out there, but I think in general any channel which will let you educate people about no code who do not already know about no code is going to help drive traffic to your no code tool. The problem you have with social media is it's great for early adoption, but everybody on there already knows about no code. You have to look somewhere else, you know?
there's a good chunk of customer out there who are willingly to pay for the no code tools?
Yeah.
What is your complete experience? If it is
So it's generally the conversion rates are pretty high. You know, typically the conversion rates would be somewhere around 15 to 20, 25%. And you know, for anyone who's ran a web service before, you know, 25% of people converting is really high. Now that's into a kind of converting onto actually using the tool. You know, it's probably I hear it's somewhere around every 1 in 20 people who tend to pay for a no-code tool, but I think there's a few factors that come into that. You know, number one, the easier it is to make an app with a no-code tool, the more likely it's going to be for someone to pay. But it's also about the audience you attract because if you think about it, if you own a no-code tool and you bring on a user, you have to do three things. Number one, you have to teach them how to use your tool. Number two, you have to teach them how to build software. And number three, you also have to almost do whatever you can to help them get their app live and serving customers. You know, be that helping with payments or anything like that. Because if a user creates an app but cannot get anyone to pay for it, they're not going to pay your bill because they're not making any money. Um, it's a thing I call the no code success paradox, which is no, you know, you can be Adalo, you can be Bubble, and you can be amazing at building apps, but if your customers can't make money with those apps, you're going to struggle to have a sustainable business.
what is the like? is there any demographic also demographic customers so कि US US people are like more purchasing a no code tool, they have more interest, or is it something कि South Asia who is like more approaching for the no code, if you have any some sort of experience on?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of a mix. I think first of all, in terms of geography, the United States and India are by far the biggest consumers of no code, at least according to our sources. Um, but it's a truly global movement. I mean, our website, I think there are only 3 countries in the world that do not send traffic to our website. 3 or 4, which is insane, you know, when you consider some of them might be places like North Korea where you probably can't get on the internet, you know. It's a really global movement. I've ran a lot of websites and I've never seen one with as much kind of global visitors. So that's pretty exciting. And then in terms of the demographic, it varies a lot. You know, I think the thing about no code is it's a technology which is accessible to literally anybody. And so, you know, if you look on social media, you're going to see a lot of people talking about no code who are generally quite young, already involved with tech in some way. You know, already use computers for work a lot. And then in terms of like a lot of the other audience that we get a lot of kind of like small businesses who you know, they're looking for a solution. They don't want to spend, you know, 6 figures paying some agency to build something. And then if you look on LinkedIn, you've got a lot of people in the enterprise space who are, you know, they're kind of um, interested in how no code can like speed up their business, save them money, etc. And so I think the commonalities between the demographics at the minute are generally the biggest adopter of no code right now are people who already have some kind of tech knowledge and just want to enhance that, product managers, designers, etc. But I think more and more we're seeing a lot of small business people. I think the enterprise will be the last kind of sector to move into this space. And I think in general as well, you know, most people using no code are fairly young, and by fairly young I mean under 50 kind of age. You're starting to see a lot more kind of older people adopt it as well. But so far, a lot of the noise certainly comes from a slightly younger generation. But I think that's the beauty of it. You know, the tools are getting easier to use. And so even for people who have spent a large portion of their life without computers even being, you know, something they had access to and are now catching up in their digital knowledge, you know, no code is becoming more and more accessible.
How like what is your experience like the people who is approaching basically are developer who is already developing using a programming language and all, are they approaching no code tool in a like let in a way in a spirit of like okay, let's check this tool and save my time, my coding time, or they are thinking ki, okay, oh, these are the no code tool, nobody going there, so let's leave them. What is your general experience?
Um, it's definitely a mixed bag. You know, there are a lot of developers I've spoke to who do not see the appeal of no code, and there's a lot of people, especially inside companies, who are wary of giving non-technical people the ability to build software because if you're a programmer, then typically you've had a few years experience and you've saw what can go wrong. You've learned from a lot of mistakes. Whereas if you're adopting no code, you can build software much quicker and without really having that experience. So that definitely puts a lot of people off, and I think a lot of developers also worry about no code replacing their jobs. My view on that is no code is unlikely to replace our jobs, but it will mean that they work on more interesting work because a lot of developers code the same thing on every project. You know, they've got to code a login flow, payments, you know, a dashboard. Every software has the same thing. But no code is really good at getting rid of repetitive pieces of software. It's a lot less good at custom software. And so, you know, the more that no code proliferates around the world, the less that developers are going to spend doing boilerplate, same old code. Um, and then I think there are some developers like me who either don't love development and it enhances them, or they find that no code can help them in one area. So, you know, there's a lot of front end developers who don't like touching the back end, and no code can simplify that. On the other hand, like me, there's plenty of developers who love the back end but are terrible at creating a front end from code. And so for me, that was my use case, and for a lot of other developers, that really, really helps them out.
So, what do you think is a future? Low code. So basically, you need to write a some code. You have flexibility of writing a code over the no code or complete no code thing.
I think both will grow. I think 0.3% of the world can program, and so that leaves 99.7% of people to adopt no code tools. So I think it's inevitable that people are going to adopt those tools. But almost similar to what I just said a few minutes ago around developers always have to write the same code over and over again, and it bores them. And so low code tools are going to get better and better at reducing the workload the developer has to have. And I think both are going to follow the same trend, which is the generic 80% of work is going to disappear, and that 20% of real clever, actually having to solve real problems, custom code, custom business logic, the focus is going to be more and more on that. And I think that's interesting because that is going to make the world more productive, and that is going to lead to more innovation, more technology, more websites, apps, etc. So anything that can cut out busy work or non-productive coding, like building a login screen or whatever it may be, I think is going to be a net positive and a big growth force in the world.